we've got substantial brand new details on Cyberpunk 2's development, as we've gotten a ton of updates from the creator himself, CD Projekt Red, and the financial report. So, Cyberpunk 2 is officially dropping its Project Orion codename in May 2025. It completed its conceptual phase several weeks before CDPR's Q2 financial results and formally entered pre-production. 6 months later in Q3, the project remains in this critical phase, though the team has expanded substantially. Before May 2025, it was in the conceptual phase. In May 2025, it entered pre-production with 96 developers. In July 2025, it grew to 116 staff members working on the project, and as of October 2025, it has 135 staff members, majority in the Boston hub. Despite the growth, joint CEO Michael Nowakowski stated that the team is happy with the progress, but clarified it's too early to talk about entering any next stage or phase. The studio will provide formal announcements when the project transitions to full production, likely not before 2027 based on expansion timelines. The extended pre-production period appears deliberate. In the AAA development cycle, pre-production involves fleshing out narrative concepts, establishing technical pipelines, building prototypes, and critically staffing up studios with the right talent before committing to expensive full production. It can take years, and CDPR appears to be taking those years seriously after Cyberpunk 2077's well-documented launch issues. So now let's talk about its development. Nowakowski has been transparent about CDPR's development timeline, stating our journey from pre-production to final release takes 4 to 5 years on average. He emphasized that each project is unique and there are many variables that influence the final outcome, refusing to commit to specific years. When analysts suggested Cyberpunk 2 wouldn't release until late 2030 or 31, Nowakowski notably failed to rule out that window. Simple math supports this. If pre-production began in May 2025 and extends through 2026 and 2027, adding 4 to 5 years of full production places release between 2030 and 2032. This isn't speculative pessimism, it's CDPR's established development cadence playing out in real time, now complicated by simultaneously developing 2 massive AAA projects. So let's talk about this Boston hub. The Boston studio, established in late 2023, has become the primary development hub for Cyberpunk 2. It houses over 80 team members with an extraordinary 90% plus holding senior level positions. This isn't a typical team structure, it's a concentration of AAA leadership designed to establish the project's creative and technical direction before scaling to full production capacity. The core team actually consists of CD Projekt veterans who ship Cyberpunk 2077 and Phantom Liberty, supplemented by industry talent from franchises including Grand Theft Auto, God of War, World of Warcraft, and The Last of Us. This represents a significant investment in proven AAA development expertise, deliberately front-loading the project with directors, leads, and senior designers who've shipped complex open-world games before. Now this matters because CD Projekt Red is avoiding the mistake of scaling too quickly. By establishing creative vision and technical architecture with experienced leadership first, they're creating a stable framework that mid and junior developers can execute against when full production ramps up. And CD Projekt Red actually has a very aggressive 2-year growth plan. They outlined ambitious scaling plans through 2027 that signal when full production will begin. The current status as of October 2025 has 135 total staff working on Cyberpunk 2, up from 116 in July and 96 in May, showing sustained quarter-over-quarter growth of 15 to 20%, primarily concentrated in the Boston location. So let's go over this Boston specific growth, as the studio plans to double the Boston team over the next 2 years, targeting approximately 160 plus staff at the location alone by late 2027. This doubling timeline is critical. It indicates full production scale won't be reached until 2027, aligning with that 2030 to 32 release window. They've also had a shift in their hiring strategy. With senior leadership now established, recruitment is pivoting toward mid-entry level positions to execute on the pre-production framework the veterans have created. The majority of Q3's 50 plus new hires went to Cyberpunk 2, reflecting this acceleration. Also, in terms of geographic distribution, CD Projekt intends to reach a 50-50 split between Boston and the combined Vancouver-Warsaw teams. This means as Boston doubles to 160, the Canadian and Polish teams will collectively also reach 160, putting total Cyberpunk 2 staff around 320 by late 2027, comparable to the 422 currently working on The Witcher 4. So what is the logic behind all of this? While it's enabling simultaneous AAA development, the Boston hub's strategic purpose extends beyond Cyberpunk 2. CD Projekt explicitly stated it enables the company to carry on with the development of 2 separate separate big AAA games at the same time, The Witcher 4, which has 447 staff, and Cyberpunk 2 running concurrently without resource competition. So why Boston specifically? Well, the North American location provides access to deep talent pulled from studios in Boston, Montreal, and across the US, particularly developers with open world RPG experience from Bethesda, BioWare, Rockstar, and other Western RPG studios. It's a deliberate geographical choice away from the CDPR's Polish base. While this introduces geographical and operational complexity, managing teams across 3 continents with time zone challenges, CDPR believes that investment will bring the next Cyberpunk experience to a new level through diversity of experience and backgrounds concentrated in Boston's leadership team. Now, we have talked about the new city in Cyberpunk 2, which is basically Chicago gone wrong, and this was actually confirmed by the Cyberpunk creator Mike Pondsmith himself. Pondsmith described visiting CD Projekt recently to review environmental design work, where he said, "There's another city we visit and Night City is still there, but I remember looking at it and going, yeah, I understand the feel you're going for, and this really does work, and it doesn't feel like Blade Runner, it feels more like Chicago gone wrong." Now, in Cyberpunk lore, Chicago is mentioned as a quarantine city, plague-ridden, gang-controlled, and sealed off from the rest of civilization. Pondsmith's description suggests an environment fundamentally different from Night City's neon-soaked, vertical Blade Runner-influenced aesthetic, and more grittier, more desperate, and less glamorous. There's also the fact that Mike Pondsmith, the creator of Cyberpunk, will have reduced involvement this time around, where unlike Cyberpunk 2077, where Pondsmith was heavily involved in promotion and development, his role on Cyberpunk 2 is more consultative, where he's going to be reviewing scripts, providing feedback on cyberware design, ensuring environmental authenticity to the Cyberpunk universe. He's not going to be directing creative, but serving as lore guardian and quality check. So now let's talk about Keanu Reeves and the potential for a Johnny Silverhand return. Now, Keanu Reeves has publicly expressed interest in reprising his role as Johnny Silverhand, stating, "I'd love to play Johnny Silverhand again." Pondsmith responded enthusiastically during a recent livestream. "Not that long ago, I saw that Keanu would like to find a way to come back from the dead and play Johnny again. I have ways to do that. Keanu can contact me." This suggests narrative discussions are exploring how to integrate the character meaningfully, a significant challenge given by Cyberpunk 2077's multiple endings. Now, the most viable narrative path here is that Johnny existing beyond the Black Wall with Alt provides the strongest hook. The Black Wall, the AI barrier separating the net from rogue AIs, is central to Cyberpunk lore and largely unexplored in gameplay. A storyline involving interaction with entities beyond the Black Wall could naturally incorporate Johnny without requiring a specific canon ending for Cyberpunk 2077. We also got some insight into Pondsmith's celebrity casting philosophy, as during the livestream, Pondsmith expanded on celebrity involvement. Let me get this straight. You got Keanu Reeves, then you got Idris Elba. What's next? Scarlet Johansson? Scarlet, you know, I have roles for you. While seemingly joking about Johansson, who does have sci-fi credibility via Ghost in the Shell, Lucy, Her, and The Island, Pondsmith made a serious point. 2 things hit me. 1, they would work really well for the characters. 2, they were people, actors who wanted to play those characters, so they immersed themselves in it. Now, this means that CD Projekt Red isn't celebrity casting for marketing. They're seeking actors genuinely interested in the material who commit to performance capture and character development. Reeves and Elba succeeded because they invested in understanding their roles beyond voice work. And if you have an opportunity to bring back Keanu Reeves, I don't see why CD Projekt Red wouldn't take it. So what about our main protagonist V? Well, the move to a second city and Pondsmith's comment about Johnny coming back strongly suggests Cyberpunk 2 features a new protagonist, not a continuation of V's story. Cyberpunk 2077's endings provided closure for V's arc. Continuing it would require establishing canon choices, alienating players whose decisions contradicted that canon. A new protagonist in a different location allows CD Projekt Red to avoid canonizing Cyberpunk 2077's endings, explore different facets of Cyberpunk world beyond Night City and corpo-dominated culture, tell a fresh story, and expand the franchise without being constrained by previous narrative decisions. And this is exactly what we saw with the Cyberpunk Edge Runner series, and we'll likely see this again in Edge Runner Season 2 with a brand new cast. This actually aligns with The Witcher's approach, where each game features Geralt but tells distinct stories in different regions with years between them, and that's why each game really felt separate separate and felt like a first game in the Witcher series. Now let's talk about CD Projekt Red's priorities, as Cyberpunk 2's 2030 plus timeline isn't just about development duration, it's about CD Projekt's resource prioritization. The Witcher 4 currently employs 447 staff in full production and isn't releasing in 2026, placing it likely in 2027 to even 2028 based on development stage. CD Projekt Red's stated goal is delivering the Witcher trilogy within 6 years total. If The Witcher 4 releases in 2027 or 2028, the trilogy completes around 2033 to 2034. Cyberpunk 2 releasing in 2030 to 32 slots neatly between The Witcher 4 and later Witcher installments, preventing market cannibalization and spreading major releases across years to maintain revenue consistency. And by maintaining two franchises on staggered development cycles, CD Projekt creates predictable revenue cadence. They could release The Witcher 4, then Cyberpunk 2, then The Witcher 5, then maybe even a Cyberpunk 3 or The Witcher 6 next. And remember, we've also got The Witcher 1 remake and a Witcher multiplayer game that is being developed by a third-party studios. Now this rhythm allows one franchise to generate revenue while the other develop, avoiding the feast or famine cycle of single franchise studios. And of course, these games will likely come to the next generation of PlayStation and Xbox, and even the Steam machine now. And this explains the aggressive technical ambition Pondsmith witnessed during the studio visit to CD Projekt Red's building, as they had hardware that doesn't even exist yet, just as Cyberpunk 2077 was designed for PS5 and Series X hardware years before those consoles launched. And they even have an Unreal Engine 5 advantage this time around, where unlike Cyberpunk 2077 heavily modified Red Engine, The Witcher 4 and presumably Cyberpunk 2 are developed in Unreal Engine 5. Epic is continuously updating UE5 for the next generation capabilities, meaning CDPR's games will benefit from the engine improvement throughout development targeting future hardware. CD Projekt Red also has financial strength that enables long-term vision. The update comes as Cyberpunk 2077 surpassed 35 million copies, validating the franchise's commercial power 5 years post-launch. And remarkably, revenues from Cyberpunk 2077 and Phantom Liberty on existing platform actually increased year over year in Q3 2025 compared to Q3 2024, before accounting for the PlayStation Plus licensing deal, Nintendo Switch 2 launch and Mac release. And this financial strength provides runway for the multi-year, multi-project strategy. CDPR can afford to keep Cyberpunk 2 in pre-production through 2026 and 2027, while simultaneously funding The Witcher 4's completion and maintaining GOG operations, without external financing pressure forcing premature releases. The company's willingness to pay 100 million Polish zloty, which equates to $27.5 million, in Q3 dividends while maintaining a 1.4 billion Polish zloty in reserves, signals confidence in cash flow sustainability through its back catalogue and upcoming releases. So what does this actually mean? Well, CDPR is taking a methodical, heavily resourced approach to Cyberpunk 2, the opposite of Cyberpunk 2077's initial development struggles. By concentrating senior AAA talent in Boston, establishing clear creative direction in extended pre-production, and maintaining parallel development capacity for The Witcher 4, the studio is setting up for sustainable long-term franchise development. The confirmation of a second city signals meaningful scope expansion beyond Cyberpunk 2077, while the extended pre-production timeline suggests the team is solving systematic design and technical challenges before committing to full production scale. The geographic diversification across Boston, Vancouver, and Warsaw creates redundancy and access to different talent pools, reducing single point of failure risks. Expect minimal public updates until the project transitions to full production, likely not before late 2026 or 2027. CDPR has learned from overpromising during Cyberpunk 2077's development. They're unlikely to show significant gameplay or provide release windows until the project is substantially further along. The next major milestone to watch is when CDPR announces Cyberpunk 2 has entered full production. That announcement will signal the 4 to 5 year clock has truly started ticking toward release. And I'm going to be updating you on Cyberpunk 2 and all the Witcher games in production. So go ahead and subscribe, leave a like, and comment down below what you think about all this brand new news on Cyberpunk 2.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.